Oh, what's up? Welcome to the Unofficial Tedeschi Trucks podcast. This is episode number 207. I am Adam Choit to follow at Tedeschi Trucks podcast on Instagram. Please subscribe on YouTube. Whatever platform you listen to podcasts on, I'll definitely be putting out an audio version of this. Patreon.com/TTB podcast to support. Please check that out. Kathleen, Stacy, Troy, Daniel, Mariah, Bo, and Marion. I appreciate the support. Definitely check that out. Portion of your contribution at the second two tiers does get donated to the Mr. Holland's Opus Foundation supporting music education. So it's definitely a win-win for everyone all around. Weedside and Woodside, THC needs, CBD needs if you're in the New York City area. Supporter of the show and the band, Randy, that's Randy's spot. Definitely check that out. What are we talking about today? We are talking about TTB's last four shows: New Hampshire, and then Toronto, and then SPAC in New York. And then it was last night. Where were we? Mansfield, Massachusetts. It was quite a run. For the last three run on Nugs. I feel like I went on a run myself, just kind of watching the shows and listening to the shows. And just having them as part of my, but I was lucky enough to be able to listen to. I mean, I can't say I watched every second of the streams, but what I saw was amazing, and what I heard was everything, and that was amazing too. I was able to listen to Dreams earlier, but let's bring in our guests, because we got most of it covered. We got newcomers Kris, and who's up in New Hampshire, and Zach out in Toronto, and Michael returning. What's up, guys? What is happening?
Yo.
What is going on? I was saying newcomers. It's totally good to see newcomers on the show. Super fun to have that. Michael, where are you located again?
I am in Denver, Colorado.
Nice. So you flew to.
I landed at 3 o'clock yesterday at Logan, and I left at 11 a.m. today.
Nice.
You must have a little jet lag.
No, I am. There's no lag.
No.
You're on cloud nine from the band. And Kris, you're near the venue.
In Gilford, I am. Yeah, I live 20 minutes west of the venue there. And then so I was in Guilford last week, and then yesterday I went down to Mansfield, Mass, which is like 2 hours straight down the highway, so it's pretty easy. Yeah, good run.
Nice. And Zach, you're in Toronto.
Yeah, I live like 30 minutes north of the venue. It's right downtown, so very accessible.
Yeah, where was the New Hampshire show? That was at the.
Well, they call it the Bank in New Hampshire Pavilion now. Yeah, it's always been like Meadowbrook to the locals, But yeah, Gilford, New Hampshire. Yeah.
Nice.
And that's like right on the lake too. Gilford's a town on Lake Winnipesaukee. So pretty cool spot. I think everyone likes to be around there. It's always a good time, a little bit of the lake vibe. I'm sure a lot of the people who aren't from around, even the band members, get to hang out on the lake a little bit and do that kind of thing, and then have a good night of music afterwards. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah, no, that's great. I'm trying to find the set list. I thought it would be on here it is. Here we go, right here. All right.
Yeah.
Crazy Crying, Ain't That Something? I'm gonna share it in a moment. Let me grab that here.
Yeah, I printed one out for a little reference.
There we go. Crazy Crying, Ain't That Something? I Got You. Feel So Bad, Bell Bottom Blues, Why Does Love Gotta Be So Sad? Kebbi and Isaac jamming to Let Me Get By and Devil Be Gone. Idle Wind, Spanish Moon, Midnight in Harlem, Made Up Mine to close it out. No encore for this one. This was the last Whiskey show, and then the next three were with Warren.
That's correct. Yeah, so that was the last night with Whiskey Myers. So they brought the whole band out there in Spanish Moon. That was pretty cool.
Yeah,
Um,
that's a jam. I was just
it,
listening to the one with
yeah,
from last night.
you know, it just went on, and it sounded good. And the Derek and Susan gave everyone from Whiskey Myers, a chance on the stage, with the solo and all that. That was pretty cool.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no, they're always such a. It's fun for them to share the stage and to play with others. Yeah, I can forget that as someone who always wants two sets on an evening with two sets TTB, that they love playing with all sorts of artists, and it's fun. It's fun as a fan too to see the bands combine.
Yeah, I think you're right. Absolutely. And then, we even saw Derek jump in with Whiskey Myers earlier in that run there with Whiskey Myers. And I think they did, actually, I know they did Going Down, which was pretty cool.
Right, they've been doing that, and Susan too on that a few
really?
times.
Yeah.
I think so.
Okay.
I forget which shows, but
yeah,
no, we'll get into the Warren with the band. That stuff soon too, but I'll give you guys the fly. I mean, and the rest of you guys can feel like jump in at every time. Anytime we don't have to like go exactly in chronological order of the shows or whatever, because we're all gonna be like, oh, I had that song, it was awesome at my show too. We'll jump around, I'm sure. And ttbase.net is such an awesome reference to like just I can pull up wherever the conversation kind of goes. But yeah, I've been listening to this show a handful of times. It's just this stellar stuff. I love all the new songs. So I don't know.
I do too.
That's great.
I really do. They're like, either fun to listen to or catchy or last night I was diving into just like trying to really kind of get into the lyrics a little bit and be a little bit more present with what they were saying and singing. It was pretty cool. Don't ask me to repeat anything, but I just know at the time when I was catching on to, at one point it was what Susan was singing. I was just like, yeah, I've always felt like you can kind of relate to stuff they're singing about. So it's pretty cool.
Right. It hooks you in different aspects of the music. And sometimes it's the lyrics that hooks you in. And I was asking in one of the Facebook groups, like, do you guys have any the chords and lyrics or whatever for "I Got You"? Because the new song's like, what are the words? What are the chords? So let me I want to see if I can fumble my way through it. It's exciting as on that front as well to listen to the words, and it forces you to learn the words if I have to transcribe them. And I hear myself kind of listen. What was that? But I really should try to sit down and transcribe it and whatever. And
I was wondering if they're printed anywhere yet.
Once I feel like once stuff is released, that's when you see like official lyrics, especially for a band like TTB. Maybe like every single Taylor Swift song, if she like every word she speaks, whatever, is transcribed by someone somewhere. But like but on like official sites, probably TTB is not stuff you might not see until it's officially
they released a list of, isn't it 17 songs? I heard.
I have no idea for their new album.
He did an interview in Albuquerque, I believe, it got reposted, where he talked about the new album next year, and it had 17 songs, I think, is what I read.
Doesn't that have to be two CDs, 2 records, or whatever?
Because a good album should only have 46 minutes at the most, maybe 40 vinyl.
Yeah.
What's TTB's limit?
That sounds like a double LP.
I see. Yeah, you're talking about the technical.
So I Am the Moon was 4 different vinyl albums. It broke out perfectly to be that. And that was 24 songs. So it's going to be interesting to see.
Yeah, no, it's going to be it's going to be awesome. This is where you were. This grainy picture.
That's Gilford. Yeah,
that's cool. A lot of these places are so scenic that the band plays at. It's important for me to pull up these wide shots to make me feel like, okay, now I get a sense of you know, where
What's
I am.
happening, what it looks like
Yeah.
inside.
This is
Yeah.
all for me to
Yeah.
live vicariously through you guys. This is a selfish thing for me. I hope you all realize that. So I can feel like I was there. Now then, after this conversation, when I go back and listen to the archive.org, thank you, tapers and YouTubers and whatever who people recording video and audio and posting that, sharing all that, and the band sharing pictures and content, and nugs.net. Like it's been awesome that I can stay this as plugged in as I am.
Yeah. Once you get in the groove with everything, you can keep the buzz going by finding all this stuff.
Yeah.
It's really incredible.
Finding you guys to connect with, to, you know, just that in itself, you know, gives the more meaning to the whole experience of being a fan and the music and all that. I feel like even the songs I talk about, how they take on different meanings as we grow ourselves and our lives play out.
I'll tell the truth. I know it.
So last night was, if I could digress here a little bit about my journey yesterday, which had me getting to my hotel, which was about 15 miles away, about 3, and I had to take a nap. I had to kind of get grounded. And then I was going to head over to the venue. Well, the storm was blowing through, and all of a sudden it was raining like crazy. And my lift ride came, and as we headed over towards the venue, it appeared that it had slowed down or stopped. But then as soon as I got to where I could be dropped off, it had kicked back up big time right at the venue. And so I get left, the lot is before any of the other parking lots there. So it's like a half a mile walk at least. So it's starting to rain like crazy, and I'm walking towards the venue, and I don't have an umbrella. So I got completely drenched. And then I get up to the front, and they're playing this repeated thing that there's a state of emergency and the ingress to the venue has been suspended until the weather system moves. And they play this over and over and over again. So they're saying, shelter in place, go back to your car. Well, I was dropped off by a lift, so it wasn't going back to any car.
Oh my God.
Luckily, I wear Speedos as a general rule, because I got to where I was, I had a TTB sweatshirt on, this cap, long jeans, and I was completely drenched. So finally, not finally, but in due time, the storm passed and they continued to let people in. But it was still raining in there. But I didn't get chilled, and I was supporting myself with a little some medicine to be able to have a little more impact with what was going on. And that's all starting to happen. And I just wound up being completely chill about everything. And it all worked out. Like one of the most unique shows I've seen with them, I think. But it was just transcendent, and it was just amazing. It really was. And so it was my own little PG version of Woodstock. I never went to Woodstock. And of course, all kinds of crazy stuff happened there. But there's nowhere for you to go there if it's raining like that. And the venue's closed. There's no shelter in place at all.
There's no overhang. So you were totally just out in the rain.
You're not in the venue. You're not in the venue yet.
Outside the venue, it's just like open air, couple trees, but a lot of parking lots.
So it was, and okay, this is just what's happening. And in my unique situation of having been dropped off, but it was really a phenomenal opportunity to just chill out and accept what was going on. And they get me in that mood. This band's the only thing that can do that. Normally, I would have maybe been panicking, because I'm talking drenched. And, but the trick was, it wasn't that it never got that cold and the wind wasn't blowing.
Mhm.
So it wound up not being, I never got cold.
Can you call an Uber but not ask it to not take you anywhere? Just come hang out with me. Just the shelter.
They couldn't get in. They couldn't get in. That's the thing. They don't let
You
them
get out and then come back. No
It's the
re-entry.
very first little sliver of land before all the parking lots start is where the Uber
Sure.
pick up and drop off is. So you'd have to go there. So
It's
you're
probably
literally on your own.
it's probably like a half mile or so, maybe more, but I'd say a half mile anyway. It's a kind of a long shot to get over to the venue from there. Well, good for you for keeping the good energy there, man.
You know, I was
Wow,
ready.
you survived.
Yeah, well, the lightning was not. There weren't lightning strikes. I think that had already moved through. We heard some, but
Yeah.
but they had shut the place
Wow.
down.
Yeah.
It's like,
Yeah, man, it was raining hard. It was coming down pretty good. Yeah. I didn't actually see much lightning, but we waited in line. I was lucky to be with a couple of friends, and Janet gave me a poncho and I threw a poncho on. She had like an extra one in her pocket. So man, that was helpful, like waiting in line and all that. I'll tell you.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah,
And
luckily
even
when I
still
went,
with that, I was feeling
Yeah.
pretty wet. But the venue was good there in the sense that there were a lot of people there. And there were a handful up in the lawn, but I think they let everyone kind of come in and grab a seat if they wanted to get on the cover. And so I grew up going to Great Woods, and they have now like extended the seating in the covered area, so at least everyone could stay dry if they wanted to, right?
Mhm.
Yeah.
yeah, because
You're
the show
talking
wasn't impacted.
You're talking about
No.
last night.
Yeah.
Yes, Mansfield. Yeah.
We'll get to Toronto, Zach. We promise. I'll pull up some pictures of
So, was that your first
Mansfield
time
first.
at? I'm wondering, is it actually Great Woods, like on the books now, or Xfinity Center?
No, I think it was Great Woods forever.
Oh yeah, it
And
was.
then
And I think,
Xfinity came in and probably did the naming rights deal.
Yeah.
Look, they bought it out and they changed the name like they did for most arenas.
Yep.
yeah, it's one of those things. It's like you grow up with that name and Great Woods, and it's just a great name for a venue. It's like my friends and I, when we talk about that place, it's always Great Woods. So,
Yeah.
Isn't it enough to just have sponsorship all around and even be like presents Great Woods? You have to replace the name entirely.
Yes.
You have to totally.
Yeah.
I don't know. Does
Yes, they
every aspect of society need to be corporatized?
There's only one that isn't, and that's Tedeschi Trucks Band. It's kind of, they're the purity in a world where that's getting to be a rare commodity.
Yeah, certainly enough, and certainly significantly more than other bands. And I kind of asked that question in so many words on the show when I asked about other bands' fan bases and the difference between this band's fan base alone from the dedication and knowledge of music and knowing that this band, they kind of educate you on bands before bands coming up, that they support on the road, all these things. It's always a special thing with TTB.
So
should we get to, I was gonna say, should we get to Toronto? I got it up here. The Budweiser stage.
So luckily when I went, it was not raining, but it did rain at the end when we were leaving because it was cloudy the whole time. So it poured rain when we were exiting. So a great way to end the show when it rained. It was the first show that Government Mule opened for them, so it was kind of cool to get two shows in the same universe of musicians because Allman Brothers, they kind of interlap, I guess, in the sense. And
cool.
It was kind of cool because I have only ever seen them separately before, so it was kind of, besides Soulshine, which I went, and that was together, but like, I only ever seen Government Mule separately, so it was different to see like a full set without Derek just coming like back and forth, I would say, because when I was in New York, that was what was happening. But it was an insane show. I was on the floor, like 5 rows to the stage, so like you could see directly in front of you, which was pretty cool. And I got on the jumbo screen, like I was on the live stream, I was waving because they got my profile, so they could see me. And the opener, anyhow, was very good. I didn't even know they opened that song because they're gonna play more new stuff because they're having an album coming out. And a lot of bands, like like they always put their new stuff because they want to always make you excited for the next album. But they did play Anyhow, which is my favorite song at the moment, so it was kind of cool to have it as an opener. And it was also cool, like how the brass section was just insane that night. Like their female trombonist was, oh my god,
Elizabeth Lee.
Yeah, I know, she's insane. And they also played like "Do Look Worried Home." Oh, and that Kevin Isaac Jam was insane. That guy did some like free jazz saxophone type thing. It was like wet crazy, and it was like just blew my mind how he could play a saxophone and just be like that crazy. And
the band keeps you alert. They push the fan, they push the ear, they push boundaries, and I think that's a good thing. And I love to hear those kinds of jams between Kebbi and Isaac, because there's something a little bit chaotic about that. And that's what life is like. That is a feeling that like I understand that, that captures the chaos of life, and you just kind of let them take you where they want to take you. And it's not going to be the next 38 minutes with TTB either of that. So that's it fits within the rhythm of TTB's
for sure.
Set for sure. How many times did you say you've seen TTB live?
I saw them twice.
Twice.
I saw them in New York when they were playing with Soulshine, like when Derek and Susan were in New York with the Warheads band. So I technically I saw them because they were there. And funny, cool thing was when Warren came out, when they did the Joe Cocker Beatles cover of a cover, I guess that was pretty cool because
with a little
they're
help.
pretty much playing with their friends, which the title says, I guess, they got help from their friend, which is kind of funny because the title made sense to it. I'm surprised they didn't do anything, no encore, because exactly after the last song, the house lights came on and the roadies were on stage immediately a second after the show ended. So we had to leave right away, which is surprising because a lot of shows have encores. But this one,
what do you guys think? I was gonna say, what do you guys think about that? Because that's something that it seemed like that was just the kind of what evolved with the Whiskey Myers tour, just given the time frame. But then I heard, some fans were saying that, maybe it's better with no encore because then it's less wasted time doing through a charade of leaving stage for a second and then coming back. So I don't know. I'm curious what you guys think of that. Is that a new thing with TTB? That we're just gonna not get encores? I mean, I'm not saying that's good or bad. It's more about the total time played, maybe in general.
Also, because Governor Mule played a big set before, they wanted to make sure.
Yeah, it must be
better. And there were also Governor Mule didn't have any guests. I was surprised Derek didn't play on Soulshine, which I thought he was going to. It was surprising.
He hasn't yet. He hasn't yet played on Soulshine, correct?
Yeah, because I thought back in the Jam Awards still existed, the Jam Board Grammys he played, and that's reminding me if he was ever going to do that because they're both, because the song was made in the same band they were when they were in the same band together. So kind of I'm surprised they did the Allman Brothers either because last time I saw them they did Whipping Post with the Warren Hayes band, which was pretty cool back in November of last year. But it was still really cool to see them play outside because I've only ever seen them play inside before MSG. So, and the way the venue is structured, it's like an open air market where all the concessions are. So you'll walk around and be like a vendor of a Corona beer that way, and be like a whole entire it's in Ontario because there's like a government park on Lake Ontario, which is a Great Lake, which is pretty huge. We got all the water behind us. But it's more it's more modernized and more corporate arena than the ones you guys I guess went to because it's much newer. It used to be called mostly Canadian Amphitheater way back when, and then Budweiser bought it and then they changed it. And it's also in a park, so they have a lot of other shared space with a bunch of other venues. But it's a very, very cool venue because you have lounges and stuff, and you have big open air market with different vendors, and the sound is just it's very like spreads out, so you can hear it from when you're walking to the venue, and like even when you're at the X, which is like where the carnival was, where all the streets were blocked off. You could hear it even from the hotels nearby.
It's a really cool looking place. I've never seen a structure like that or a music venue like that. It's kind of neat.
Yeah, it's a pretty modern thing because
Yeah.
a lot of venues like the ones you went to are more like in the middle of nowhere, which is a parking lot, I guess you would say. But this was surrounded by a bunch of residential condos because Toronto was a huge modern city, and it was like surrounded by boats, so you could see boats behind the show, which was pretty cool because it's on a marina. Which is surprising because not a lot of concerts you can see a marina right at the same place, which is pretty cool. And they didn't sell out, which was good because there was much better seats. Because sometimes at shows you can't see anything when you're on the floor, then it like kind of hard. But I had a pretty good view.
Are you a drummer? Cinnamon in the chat is asking, are you a drummer?
Yeah, I am.
Nice. Yeah. What did you think of Falcon and Isaac?
They were insanely
Watching.
good.
Yeah, so much fun seeing.
Crazy how they like play different styles of the way they play the same song. Because one of them played on the right, one of them played on the hi-hat. So I was like seeing how the different way they played the same song and how their styles blended into the music, which was cool. And their backup vocalist on one of their songs, the one where something I forgot the name of the song. These are the days, something. Yeah, I forgot the name.
Mark, Alecia, yeah.
Yeah, that song where they joined in, it was insane. They got pipes too. And when Susan played on her like by herself on the piano, I was with my mom and her friends, and they said that almost made them cry. Like when
that's part of the deal when you go see TTB. You expect to cry at least once or twice from a ballad, and then maybe once or twice more unexpectedly at other points in the show. So that's
it does happen.
The over-under is usually set at like 2 or 3 times. You'll really.
I Can't Make You Love Me last night. I went into the saddest place inside myself possible.
Yeah,
and
same.
started crying. And just.
But I was.
Amazing.
That's a therapy. That's a therapy in itself, in a sense.
No, that's what I'm using this for.
Yeah,
intentionally.
Mm-hmm.
And
I think we all are, to some degree.
Another cool thing.
Some people are maybe less conscious about it, but I think the joy.
It's more than that. It's more than that, but it is that too. Certainly. What were you saying, Zach?
Yeah, like I was surprised to open with Anyhow, like I said before, because that song, like I feel like is a song I feel it's a really good song to open with because it gets you into the groove right away. I would say, and it's kind of like that song where everyone knows it. It's kind of like their well-known song, kind of like how like the Government Has Soulshine, their well-known song, I would say. In the
maybe.
I
was gonna say
it's more popular than like many other tracks that.
Yeah, I think of Midnight in Harlem as their like signature song, but like anyhow, part of me would probably be like, if we're gonna have a number 2 signature song, kind of like what you're saying. Anyhow is obviously on a commercial, and part of me I feel like it's just been around so long, and they play it so much, and it's like an upbeat kind of song. But yes, Anyhow is kind of a mid-tempo song to this sort of like not slow groove, but a building groove for the first song is like. It just shows to show their flexibility in terms of what they could start their set with. It doesn't matter, it doesn't necessarily have to be a rocker. They don't have to start with an upbeat song. They've started shows with Midnight in Harlem. I remember that.
That's what I wanted to say, because I see various comments about people wishing for this, wishing for that, and I've seen them 15 times now since 2023, and it doesn't matter what they do for me. I'm not keeping track. I'm not keeping score. I'm not thinking, anything other than just bring it on. And it works unbelievable every time without having an expectation, except I do have an expectation to be taken somewhere that I never get to go to unless I'm at their show. And that's what they do unfailingly, which
for sure.
is amazing.
Well said, yeah.
And also, one more thing I'd like to point out was
That
how
live music.
like Warren, when he came back, I was surprised because like they played. I was surprised they played these two songs because usually they play Allman Brothers, but it was a good change to the set because I feel like the venue is the way the speakers are set up. Is it's like one side, like on either side, like two screens. So it's like you have like a 360 of the whole show. You can see behind you and in front of you at the same time. So it's like you could see everything, which was pretty cool. You could see every member pretty clearly, which sometimes is jarred up by fans standing in front of you. But there was not.
Good sight lines.
Yeah, pretty much. It was also not sold out, so that was why I could see more of it. And also, it was good weather. Sadly, Michael didn't have that greatest weather, but it did rain for my show too, but only when we were exiting the venue. So the weather swapped. It came to you first, and it came to me last.
Drenched. I've never been drenched.
It was like pouring rain after I left, but thankfully they didn't do it during the show because that would have been a little bit of like a Michael situation.
The crowd really shined through well on the stream on Toronto. The crowd watching on Nugs, I felt like that's another thing about what Nugs has been doing great at is, you know, besides just for the most part, I think following the band organically as the music moves through each individual artist, but like getting the audio from the crowd. When I'm watching music, a concert, when I'm watching sports, I want to hear like the crowd. That's like a part of the experience. Like, so
like
having that mixed correctly is good. And, you know,
yeah, Nugs is at a point now. I'm sure they get an array of mics going for the crowd.
Yeah,
So
no,
can
the
mix it in.
Nugs was pretty. It's pretty damn great. Yeah, I'm grateful for the
They're
stream.
getting really good at it. I mean, you know, when you're watching a show, doing the coach tour thing, it's like they know. It's like, you know, when the drummer hits, you know, at the right time or something, they're on it. It's kind of like they're a part of the band or the band's team in some ways. You know what I mean? Like just like the guys who do the lights at the shows, they know what's happening and know the timing and what's going on. And obviously the sound guys do to pick stuff up, but
that's why you have paid professionals.
What do you guys think of this? I was gonna say, what do you guys think of the screens? I've talked about it a little bit, but even Kris and Zach, what do you guys think of the screens? And I feel like it's been adding so much just to even watching the shows, like on the live stream, seeing videos of it. They've towed the line so perfectly with the enhancement, but also like not being in a distraction, you know, either. It's like
I completely agree. It's not like just a spinning spiral of like, you know, crazy, trippy too much. I think it's the multiple screens, the sizing, it's classy looking. And as someone who like, you know, I mean, I love the Brotherhood of Light and the Allman Brothers stuff that they did back in the day, and that screen and which was like the whole Great Woods thing back in the day. And I used to work and do some video work myself and all that. So like, I just loved hanging out at the front of the lawn at Great Woods and just watching that video screen all the time back in the day, you know. And now to see it like come to fruition where they are now, I really like it. I mean, if you were going to ask me about lights last year, I was a little bit like, you can't give me sunglasses bright enough. It's sometimes because it's very bright.
I think they received the feedback.
They might have, because it's spot on now. I'm super happy about it, and quite frankly, I mean, it's well done. All the imagery and stuff like that's been great. When it's not like video of the band playing and all that stuff. That, you know, I don't know, I guess the artwork, I should say. It's just cool. The tie-dyes, the kaleidoscopes, that kind of stuff. It's not too much.
It brings you in closer in a utilitarian way, in like a visual way. It literally brings you closer to the band, but also, you know, I think it brings you spiritually closer to the band in a way. Also, it kind of just it all kind of meshes together.
There's more depth, more
visual depth, and more actual depth, and it's. I feel like it's a similar tone to even the videos that they did with the "I'm the Moon" songs when they released those. It's kind of that same psychedelic, not maybe the same exact, because that was actually they actually had a wide variety of styles in there, but there was a tone to it, and I feel like there's a tone and style choices with these backgrounds. So it looks great in photos also.
I feel they're a little bit late to the party with all the video stuff, because all this stuff's been developing beyond belief for years, and they certainly are plugged into that creative community where they can execute it exactly the way they're doing it this year, which is where it's really perfect. It's really well done. But
maybe they've always thought of themselves as such an organic band where that maybe they thought this is like too much production or something like that, and it also costs money.
It costs money. The big
money.
I also would say like it's less
Smoking fog is
distracting with
good.
the colors, because like a lot of concerts I've been to, there's always they like project what's on the stage on the screen. Well, they did do that, it was on the sides, so you didn't really see it. And it was like a live stream. They like showed the live stream at the show, which is pretty cool. You could like see the crowd, like when you're at a sports venue, you like wave at the jumbotron when you get yourself shown. It's kind of like that. I was pictured there twice or three times, and it was not distracting because you didn't really see it in your visual view, so you could focus more on the band than having to watch the same thing projected to you twice, which was pretty cool.
Yeah, I felt like there wasn't too much cutaways. I didn't even jump out at me at all that there was like too much cutting to the audience or not enough. It felt like at all a lot of these all the streams kind of just worked in that regard. The amount of time spent on each band member or each shot.
The right director has been hired, because that's really what it comes down to. Who's sitting in that chair? And their Nugs has obviously gotten pretty sophisticated with who they're putting in that chair.
It's got to be somewhat challenging with 12 people up there. I was going to say to have all those people up there to cut to back and forth. That's got to be. I guess it depends on the size of the band, but the fact that each band member is so integral to the band, especially when all 12 are on the stage at the same time and they all have important parts in the song.
Well, the director needs to do it really well, because I used to do all that back in the day, and I did a Government Mule and an Allman Brother DVD. The director needs to understand the arrangements. You have to know what's coming up next, and that's when things are slow sometimes when you're watching a webcast, because they weren't maybe that prepared with their notes for the arrangements. Because that kind of accuracy is really helps drive the impact of it.
Yeah.
Anything else about? I was going to ask if you had anything else on the Toronto set list. Then I figure we can look at SPAC. I don't think any of us were there, but that's all right. That's all right. We can just take a quick look at the set list and pictures. But I figured I'd jump in here. We could obviously come back, but I figured we'll keep the train moving along here. So I don't know if Zach had anything else on the Toronto show. Just
I would just say like one more thing is I liked how Derek didn't play and swap guitars throughout the show. It was pretty cool because I usually see him play Gibson SG. And Susan played a Gibson, which was pretty cool. And I like how the backup vocalists had like their own. That part of me they played that was just like you could tell how important they are, not just singing do 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 in the back of or like repeating in anyhow like the lines, and how like every member, even they play like acoustic guitar. One of the guys, I don't remember his name,
Mike Mattison, yeah,
he even played acoustic guitar, which was pretty cool. And their bass player was just like dancing on stage. He was like deep in the groove, which is something I don't see a lot of bands do besides like the Government Mule, which had like a bass solo. But that was, and their trombone player, my God, she is great.
Well, each one of these musicians have passed the audition from Derek and Susan to be in this band, and they had that bar for anybody who's been in the band forever. How long? The bar is super high, and so each musician can always just star. They can be a star at any moment, and that's the juggling within the band. Is how do they parcel out those opportunities when it's really their band, Susan and Derek's band.
Yeah, for sure.
I think they do a great job of
They
doing
do.
that. Like I know some people will leave a show and feel like I wish I would have got a little bit more of this or that, and I almost never really feel
Yep.
that way unless there's like some kind of time constraint or something like that. But that aside, I think the band generally and Derek putting together the set list and divvying up parts, I think you get a little bit or a lot of bit of everything. Obviously, an evening with 2 sets with TTB, you're going to get even more of everything. But
What's the perfect length, Adam? Your fantasy length of the ultimate 2-set show. How long would that be?
well, I mean, that's what I again feel like that's up to the band. But I mean, what, like 2.5? What would be a long show? 2.5 to 3 hours, something like that.
3 would probably be pretty good.
3 would be good because you could get you could get breaks because you have 12 people. That's the whole point of Tedeschi Trucks Band, where you could play an epic show where you could give Susan a rest and give other singers or a break and the horns a break, and really anyone could do it. Could do a thing totally by themselves, down to Derek just going up there and playing a couple a minute or two, whatever, or longer.
I don't see Falcon and Isaac really getting a break much, though. I mean, they seem to always be in it. I mean, once in a while you get those solos, or not solos, but duets, where maybe Susan and Gabe are doing something. But
or Derek and Susan's, don't they?
Yeah.
They've done an acoustic thing, right?
I've
Sometimes
never
to
seen
start.
that. I'd love to.
I'm sure there's stuff on YouTube with them. I think they started when they do 2 sets. They'll start a second set, sometimes doing a couple of acoustic things, and then the band will start to sprinkle in a second set. That's a cool way to start a second set.
And I don't, I can't imagine they would need a break. I mean, they always have that an intermission when you have a long night, but gosh, they need a break at some point. Can you imagine trying to play music for that long?
They play a lot of classic stuff, but they're not old. So
oh yeah.
Maybe they maybe they can do it.
You tell them. No, I'm grateful for like all this music. I mean, I guess I didn't think too deeply about it, or haven't, but like the fact that this band has been around, or in terms of my expectations, like in 2011 for this band, like this band has been around 15 years. The average band doesn't make it 15 years and 6 albums. Or what is it? Is this gonna be this? How many are we at? Studio albums. This next
5.
one is.
This will be the 6th.
This will be the 6th, or this will be the 7th. The 6th.
As far as
studio album. That sounds right. 7 seems like a lot, and 5 doesn't sound like it. Seems like
this will be the 6th one.
Right.
I Am the Moon was the 5th one.
Right, and that's what I mean. We count that as 4 albums if we want, but let's say 6 albums and 15, 16 years of music and all this live music on archive.org and YouTube and other things that I'm not even thinking about right now, where we could see and hear the band like
live recordings.
It's
recorded from shows.
What's that?
Like live recordings, like albums of them just playing like a whole set on like Apple Music or Spotify.
Well, that's what's coming out this week.
With Leon Russell, right?
The Locken.
That's right. Yeah.
Which,
it's the audio that's coming out, or
every format you could possibly buy something on.
Every version they have with Leon Russell in the video or on the audio.
And he was. I mean, that was the whole point of that. That it was original members, and they were paying homage to how inspired they always were by that project, by Leon, etc. And it's a huge tribute done beyond belief, and that's what's coming out. The whole thing will be on all the digital services, I think, on the 12th.
Yeah, right.
I pre-ordered the LP over at Fantasy Records. I think similar. I think it's getting shipped out the 12th or the 15th. That sounds right, Mike.
Yeah. It's they're on a major label, so those dates are those dates.
Yeah. looking forward to playing that on the old record player soon. I just actually I got to share. I scored some sweet speakers today on the way home. Yeah,
Nice.
Well,
yeah.
I have to brag. I went to the original Mad Dogs and Englishmen concert in Denver
Nice.
in March of
No way.
1970. They worked together 2 months, and I went to the time they were in Denver. And then I went to Leon's. He came back to tour solo and did some dress rehearsals, and I went to all of those. So
Mhm.
that was part of my whole excitement back then. And when Tedeschi Trucks has embraced this stuff and pumped sunshine up the wazoo into this music, it's already in my old memory banks. And then they
Yeah.
come along and just honor it in a way that's stunning.
Yeah, no. Who else is even musicians out there are even capable of doing something like this? Because it's even beyond just the individual talents. It's the individual talents coming together and all understanding the importance of this music and the value of this music and the greatness of all these songs from Mad Dog and Englishman. Like like all the members of TTB, they get it, so to speak.
And that's why
I think you're right.
the whole lineup of the band was, I believe, inspired by those examples of those bands. So that's why they have the horn section, the background singers, the 2 drummers. That was all part of Mad Dogs.
Uh-huh.
And so it's really been their way of paying homage. And that's when they decide to pay homage to something. It's like, wow. They do such a great job with any of the songs that they do. We've talked about this before, but it's really an interesting idea, this Tedeschi Trucks band.
Yeah,
that's one way to put it for sure. What about SPAC? None of us were there, but we can take maybe a quick look at the set list here. Don't Let Me Slide, Crazy Crying, I Got You. It's so heavy. Feel So Bad, I'm the Moon, Circles Around the Sun, Passaquan. So that wasn't Circles and Passaquan was 2 nights ago.
And that's what I saw online. Everybody who
That's
was
what I was
at
listening
that
to.
everybody who was at that show was just going wild about that combination right there.
Yeah, this between Spanish Moon with Warren and Danny Lewis there, and Key to the Highway to close it out. But that's Circles and Passaquan. Circles and Passaquan we had not seen in a while in the set until this. I think it was the first time for both of them since they returned from like the break or whatever. I think before Tulsa and Red Rocks is the first time I think we're getting a Circles and Passaquan. So that was cool. See, and like we were saying, I think even before we started recording Spanish Moon, how that's just a groove, and with Warren, and it's pretty cool for sure. I'm digging I Got You, the new one, the newest. That's the newest, right? It's newer than
I Got
Future
You.
Soul. Yeah, it's the newest, I think.
And it's a little reminiscent of Midnight in Harlem, the melody in it.
I thought
that
that Who Am I felt more like Midnight in Harlem, but
I'm confused.
Maybe that's the one. Maybe that's the one you're thinking of. Yeah, Who Am I? I think I was saying initially it felt a little bit of a Midnight in Harlem vibe, but then it kind of evolves into. I think it really is. It's its own. It becomes its own thing. I think ultimately, and then Derek's outro solo on that one. It gives you a good Allman Brothers-y kind of.
Oh no, it's Dickie Betts
vibe.
reincarnated.
Right.
Completely. And who better to reincarnate Dickie than Derek?
Yeah, no
his
doubt.
influences are he wears them on his sleeve.
Yeah.
And then he plays so much that doesn't sound like anybody else also. So it's not like he's just making a buck by copying licks.
Did you guys
Yeah.
watch? Was you
Yeah.
guys able to catch the stream for this show or listen to any of this stuff from this one?
I did not. I caught when they did Toronto. I was like had Nugs queued up and kind of saw the whole night there. And then at the SPAC, I was kind of just paying attention a little bit on Facebook and all that stuff, seeing what was going on and the social stuff. But just didn't have it wasn't the right
Yeah.
time for me to kind of roll in and do the Nugs thing.
Yeah, I think.
Yeah,
Well, there's. I
so
think there's all the fan recordings are up for all of these on archive. So that's cool. So if you
Yep.
really want to have to
Yep.
listen back, thank you for that. Who I'm looking at the SPAC recording right now. It's from sound. What was transfer right? JT/NY. I don't know. Well, thank you, whoever that is. Uploaded by JT/NY.
Yeah.
Sweet. Yeah, this is all. Yeah, it's awesome.
Yeah,
That list.
Don't Let Me Slide. That's a great song. It's a great way to kind of warm up into the music, get everyone singing a little bit, you know.
Classic TTB.
Yeah, yeah.
For sure.
So I have
There's too many
question.
songs to choose from.
Adam, I have a question. Is it known who writes the arrangements? Because this is one of the secret weapons of this band. They got the 12 pieces, and every song has a very specific arrangement where it's not just repeating the same style over and over. That utilizes the voices, the horns, etc., and very intentional stuff. And it's quite the sandbox in terms of whoever's arranging. I've just always assumed that Derek is more doing the arranging, but I don't know if it's something
I would imagine steering and coming up with ideas, because we know Gabe and Mike wrote songs, so they probably came up with a lot of those chords and chord changes and riffs and ideas and lyrics and all that. So I'd imagine it's definitely shared. I think just Derek, they have different voices, and they all have important voices within the band. But I would suppose Derek has the strongest voice, and then obviously Susan would be right there too, because like we were saying, in their name, it's their name, it's their band. But I think again, songs come from everywhere. Like, so I think the songs come from everywhere.
But when the albums come out, it says producer Derek Trucks, and so that's the person who's basically the final decision maker of whatever they're doing, because he has to, he's the producer,
right?
And so I would assume whatever. I really love to see.
He's I'm curious.
A documentary of the making of, with all the, and that's kind of what the Mad Dogs documentary is like.
Making of a tour, though, it's more making of a tour in some regard, making of a live show and a live tour versus saying studio behind the scenes.
Yeah, I feel like back in the maybe Made Up Mind or Let Me Get By days, they kind of had a pretty cool lengthy documentary of one or two of their songs in the newborn kind of phases through like birth, kind of down at like the Swamp Raga studios and all that, and that was pretty cool to see and hear. And you're right. I mean, the arrangements are like so cool. They're so fun to listen to melodically, and the way things come together that feel. Mike, it's a good question there. I wonder who does all that. Yeah.
And that's what sets this band apart from everybody else, because of the 12 pieces. They've got all these incredible arrangements with the horns, and no other band is carrying that kind of first of all, membership, and then the responsibility of utilizing everything in such a compelling way. That's why I think seeing this band is so much richer than a lot of the legacy groups that they're maybe inspired by, because they're touching so many bases.
They have a sense of dynamics. They know how to move. They know how to move people with their music through a journey, through a musical journey. I'm not describing, but it has ups and downs.
It's a magic carpet ride, is what it is.
It's not no pun intended. It's not one note. It's not, it's it's an eclectic mix of music that all seems very logical and rational how it's put together, but at the same time it's very different, you know, in a lot of regards every night. There's not a lot of repeats, let alone if there is one, you're not getting two of the same Derek solos in a row on Let Me Get By or Do I Look Worried? Like if you're there, especially, like, it's as fresh as can be singing, hearing these songs
for the
live.
53rd time, as fresh as could be. It's really so astounding.
I think even if Derek played everything the same way and the band played it very similar, it wouldn't be
He never would. That's what
they wouldn't. So I don't like hypotheticals in general anyway, but yeah, no, I think I joke that Derek is bored and that gets bored, and that's easily, and that's what keeps the band fresh in a lot of ways, from the set list to the amount of choices they can fill set lists with.
There was a video with him talking about, if I get bored, I'm trying to come up with something, I just kind of get stuck, I'll go pull out a Buka White album and I'll listen and hear that slide, and all of a sudden then the inspiration starts coming.
Yeah, when he talks about that and plays this music and whatever, then I start looking up these artists, and then I'm learning, and then I'm hearing something and listening to new music and playing guitar, messing around, and it's just a cool world to just be, even a small part of it. Credit to Derek for keeping great music alive and educating people.
He's brilliant, is what I think he is.
He's incredible.
In terms of all the different buttons that are being pushed and just all the decisions that are made, and that they keep being there.
I mean it kind of rhetorically, but why is this guy not way, way, way more famous than he is? He is famous, but why is he not? I don't know.
It's old school.
Commercial. There's a certain commercialism and trendiness in music, and I don't know. I'm not sure what it is, but clearly we've all found something. It's an if you know thing, or is that what it is?
Yep.
I don't know.
Yep.
It's lack of exposure is the, because everyone who's seen the band, I joke that the friends that I've dragged to TTB shows, 90% of them have been to more than one TTB show, so they come back too. I think it's a totally unique thing here with TTB and Derek and this band.
And I think everything's gotten so competitive on a cultural level. The saturation point was achieved a while back, and so it's just harder for something that's as brilliant as this band to compete with things that have a more aggressive promotion budget, are part of a bigger platform, of what they're not the hip young person, whatever it is. There's just not the pathway. The pathway is much narrower now to.
I suppose it's to speak to the saturation of, and I guess competition. I guess everything is kind of niche in some regards. Maybe that's not a bad thing entirely. We have these conversations, somewhat jokingly, tongue in cheek, about TTB. Be careful, don't get too big, so we can still have the same feeling of community and access and intimacy to, even the band, the crew, the music, the fans, and online community, offline community, all this stuff, like that sort of aspect to it. We don't want to lose that either, but you definitely we all root for the band's success commercially, as much as possible too, as long as they're playing authentic music that we love.
It would be interesting to understand the payroll structure, but I'm not wanting to go through that in any way, shape, or form, but it would be interesting.
It's definitely an operation, a circus, as they call it. They call it a traveling circus a little bit. This band. We could get back to Mansfield for
yes.
If we really fully had the conversation about the set list here. I'll read it down. The letter, Do I Look Worried? Who Am I? Walk on Gilded Splinters, Ain't That Something? Future Soul, I Want More. Into Beck's Bolero, Just Won't Burn, Made Up Mine, I Can't Make You Love Me, It Ain't Fair to Dream, Stand Back, With a Little Help from My Friends. This was last night. This just happened. I feel like I'm processing this, and all I did was kind of watch and listen to the music, and I'm still taking it in as if I was there, absorbing in a lot of ways.
There was a thought that I shared that Derek just seemed to be more buzzsaw like, and there was an intensity about him, and it also felt like a natural kind of that he was in a different space. It's almost like he's now like Superman out there. I don't know how to put it, but it was just a number of people commented about, whoa, he was really on fire last night. And of course,
It shined through on the stream.
I really did, I'm sure. Yeah, that was a hot night. It was pretty cool. And what you're talking, I mean, they kind of have that religious type experience, whatever it is, for each one of us. But yeah, it was something else. I remember we got back in the car. There was 4 of us, and we kind of had silence for a little while. Like, it just kind of like mind was just blown. Like, cool night. And there's, I mean, for me, I think, there's something magical about Great Woods and the history of that place, and the Allman brothers lineage, and having Warren and Derek there. It just all just like felt really connected, and the energy was just outstanding. And then you can go through the night, but the way that night finished, with, I Can't Make You, and then Alecia, the band, but Alecia on It Ain't Fair. And you have Dreams, Stand Back, and Dreams was just like, it just kind of kept on growing into something, and Warren and Derek kind of giving each other space to play, and that song just grew.
Yeah, no, it was intense for kind of a very laid back sort of journey that they took you on, that gripped you. It definitely had an intensity to it. It was a special moment. That was definitely what we saw, is them giving each other that space, as you're saying, and a good amount of slide from Warren, which is cool to see, bring his own style and flair to that. And then Derek could get, doing his thing too. It's a moment. They have a special chemistry.
And I saw something else as well, because back when I did the 2003 Allman Brothers DVD, the 2 of them playing, there wasn't really much interaction. There wasn't any body language. Last night, I felt Derek was embracing Warren from afar, that he was really wanting to energize Warren, that he was on. It was a totally different vibe than I remember seeing with the 2 of them before, and that Derek was like wanting Warren to kill, and he was going to do whatever he needed to do to get Warren to the next level. And it felt like love. It felt like love. Derek's way of showing how he loves Warren.
Yeah, I think it's Derek and Warren are both kind of like sort of for the most part are consistently sort of understated on stage. They're just focused on playing and enjoying. You see them enjoying themselves, but they're not the most demonstrative players at all times. And they're both that way, but at the same time, they've been playing together so long and have this like special chemistry that they just can get back to right away when they play together, that they can almost, I don't know, maybe it catches them off guard a little bit, like how much of their chemistry is there, and they know how special it is. So it's hard for them to hide how they feel, especially Derek.
I think if you go back and
they're emotional creatures, these musicians, from what I gather.
Derek's body language is much more demonstrative than I've ever seen him, because of him being there with Warren. And it just really struck me as powerful about. It was like him paying homage to Warren in a really profound way is kind of how it struck me.
He plays with other guitar players and they trade solos, but like we talked about, there's something special here where they're giving each other the space, and they're weaving their music, they're exploring it. They're both playing slide, they're both not playing. There's a lot going on. There's a lot of history certainly there, and it gives it makes it that much more special for fans.
But which guitar player is more fun to play with than Derek Trucks? Because he's the perfect show off, and he's the perfect team player, both at the same time.
and everything really in between too. Like that's I think maybe even that what makes him more special than just I am being good at rhythm, I am being good at soloing. Like there's a lot more to music. There's the everything in between, and that's Warren can do it all too, and sing.
Well, they're human beings, and there's a chemistry to the moment of what they're doing. And the Tedeschi Trucks Band Container is one of the most head-spinning opportunities for musicians to really show off and to really showcase in a passionate way what they're about. And that's what happened with Dreams last night. It was all that history, all the times they played it together. And last night felt like a fresh experience, the way they were egging each other on and hitting the right note every time.
Right. It's like, I mean, obviously I would say the whole every moment of the TTB show is can't miss, but that really is like when Derek and Warren are on stage, you better kind of stop what you're doing, and you're not going to the bathroom, whether you're watching on Nugs or you're there.
Mm-hmm.
It was transcendently hypnotizing.
Oh,
right.
wow.
Experienced it.
It's one of those songs where people, it's a lot of people's favorite Allman Brothers song. Maybe it's the first song they've heard. There's been multiple people on this come on here and talking to me, telling me about just how important that song just in itself is to them. And it's become that, of course, for me too. These songs are just really special.
It just felt while they were doing that, I'm going, this is like the most important musical event you could ever be at. It just had that feeling to it, which is just incredible that this band can keep getting people to think that way. Feel that way.
Yeah, I agree, and that might sound crazy to some people, but not to me. That sounds perfectly logical, rational, and I think that it when you're at a TTB show, you're like, oh, everyone else in the world, this is where they wish they were, or if they don't even know about what's happening right now, that's their law, whatever it is. Like this is the place to be. Like if TTB is like, I'll message people. The band is playing this song. Like I'll just tell people when the band is live. It's exciting even from afar, because something special is happening for the people who are there.
So I had a perspective on Gabe from last night that I found interesting, and now I've seen them 15 times, and I probably make a lot of this up in my mind, but I've kind of had this narrative about that Gabe's only partially engaged on some level. And that's extreme. I don't think I really mean that. But last night, it felt like just the opposite. It felt like he was being his most authentic, totally into it version of himself. And last night, he was a key member of this band, period. And he was going to show why.
I think he's gotten a few more vocal parts on the last few shows compared to maybe on some of the Whiskey Myers tour and some of those sets. I think he's gotten a few more like the Ain't That Something. I don't know if that was I have to check all the stats and all this, but I think he's definitely gotten a little bit more and that's important. You have to feed each individual, make sure they're all well fed musically and have enough to grab onto to show off their. I mean, show off is not the best way to express themselves, musically, to share their gifts with the audience, because otherwise they're not going to want to stay in TTB, and the goal is to keep TTB together. So you got to make sure everybody stays. It's like mouths to feed, and even in sports and all. Everybody's got to get their shots. Yeah, I got to get my 5-6 shots in the game. If the star get, maybe Derek Susan, they get 10, 15, 20 shots in the game, but you got to keep the rest of the people, everyone else engaged, because that makes the collective, better and sustainable.
Kris and Zach, did you have any sense of Gabe from last night?
Funny you mentioned that, and talk about Ain't That Something. I'm just going to go to Gilford for a second, because I sat like front right in Gilford, and it was like perfect kind of side view towards Gabe. And I can't say that like during a concert or TTB concert, I've like really been engaged with him and kind of very in tune to what he's doing and looks like doing his thing. And we just kind of like caught on like early and like Ain't That Something just like in Gilford just absolutely ripped and like kind of got the crowd going and the vibe was right. And we were, the whole dancing thing and like you could see Gabe kind of doing his thing and singing and it feels like he's looking over in our area, just feeding off that. And then last night I happened to be right in front of Gabe, a couple rows back, and it was a similar kind of thing. Like he just kind of seems in tune with the folks around and into it. And I'm paying more attention to what he's doing and seeing the eye contact he's making with the band and all that, which I'm sure happens all the time. But yeah, he's hot,
Yeah, I think he and Susan have a secret crush on each other sometimes, the way they make eye contact. And I'm sure that's totally ludicrous to say, but
Musical crush.
They do communicate that when they're trading leads and stuff. I always notice that.
Yeah. No, it just looks like they're having fun. So when Susan's having fun with another man on stage, but that's all part of the band. And I think it was good. I think it's a good thing that the band has a little bit more of a female influence into the band beyond just the female voice. Just I think sort of a little bit more balance in that regard. I think brings a good dynamic to the band. I think maybe makes it more sustainable too. Like,
they all appreciate each other in some ways and sometimes, and I feel like I see them like getting tickled or laughing at something that someone just does, or you see this like big smile, like, man, that sounded good. Like sometimes it's just like a little whatever the heck it is, but like someone's like, yep, that sounded cool, like, or
like one big happy family.
Yeah,
is kind of what comes, and every show has a happy ending. It's amazing.
Right.
You get the whole range of emotions with the show also, and feelings, even down to like you guys are describing, like just humor and lightheartedness, to like look at a set list and talk about how intense a lot of this music is and how emotional a lot of this music is and how heart-stirring a lot of this music is. They give you the range of emotions to the point you get that lightheartedness. And I think that's what sustains them. You have to have those waves. You can't it's what makes the crescendos to some of these songs so special, is that it's not a crescendo every 2 seconds. And it couldn't be. They just have, and they have such a sense for those dynamics, I guess is the word I keep coming back to. Tracy last night was there. I was front row Gabe's side last night. We were dancing all night. Love when Gabe sings. Hell yeah.
I was going to say that, I just lost the thought.
It'll come back. I'll pull the set list back up.
So Gilded Splinters, I don't know how often they play that early in a set list. I feel like I haven't seen it or heard it early.
Yeah, I think it's usually later, maybe a couple of times more recently, but not usually early.
Like an encore kind of song, right?
Sure.
That just felt like it was starting to like really fire up the room.
You think?
The same thing.
It always seems to.
It's like a bomb going off. Are you kidding?
I mean, the whole place is, it sounded freaking awesome. Yeah.
Every song opportunity.
And I'm just looking at the set. I have the set list here too, so I was like, oh.
You got one? You got one right there?
No, so actually,
wrote it down.
The one you had from both I like, because both in Gilford and in Mansfield, I was kind of close to the stage. I kind of hung out around there and ended up like someone like near me got a set list and would just like conversation. And I got to take a couple pictures of them. So to share, but I didn't get a set list. So I just printed out what I took a picture of here from last night and the other night. Man, just that whole night. I mean, I was like, when we're talking about dreams, I'm like, We need to talk about Just Won't Burn. And we need to talk about I Want More Bex Bolero. Just, I mean,
just incredible.
All of it, but so many times I just felt like very moved. I don't know how else to explain it. Just very moved, like completely into what was happening with the band and the sound and everybody around. Whether I'm watching or just hanging with my eyes closed, like taking it in. Very moved. Then there was a moment when they went into Bex Bolero and it was happening. I was like, just sonically sounded so damn good. I was like, wow, just like hit the note.
It feels like triumph. It's triumphant listening to that live, and that's one of the feelings.
So I just remember what my thought was. They were so fierce last night, I felt, and it was so strong and confident that I had this analogy that it's like they were a cat. The audience was a little mouse, and they were a cat who was having its way with the audience. It's like no contest. That they're so powerful that, of course, everybody was blown away.
I love how Susan's doing the introducing the band with a little help from my friends. That's like a perfect fit to go around the room and introduce the band.
So it was cool when I did that when I was seeing that, because it's a good way to use that song because they're all friends, and the title of the song kind of makes sense.
It's perfect
as well, because like usually at some shows when I saw them play before, Derek was like, "Here's Derek Trucks, please welcome him in," or something before they would introduce him. But it was playing him during the music was cool because when you introduce them, they get a little bit of like time to shine, I guess, and a little bit like spotlight on them, other than just a quick like word from the lead singer and then the song starts.
Yeah, no, it's good to give them credit. And TTB, I guess maybe at a festival sometimes they get introduced, but usually they just take the stage and start playing, and that's the show 99% of the time.
Wavy Gravy,
right? Unless it's something out of the ordinary. Tracy likes Gilded Splinters.
Yeah, she does.
I'm trying to formulate how to express this, but with a little help from my friends. The thing about Susan that I saw last night during that is that she's like a mature woman who's got a very sensual, passionate core, and her body language is, I believe, an expression of her sensual and sexual energy. But she doesn't pander. There's no exploit. It's as pure as the driven snow. And when she got to, with a little help from my friends, I had never seen her have that kind of body language. And she was just as into it and as expressive as I've ever seen her. And
she brings it.
There's nothing gratuitous, but it's an expression of a feminine way of moving her body that is her being authentically allowing that part of her to be viewed and seen in public. And it's not gratuitous, but I'm sure I wish there was a female on there to it just felt that she's a fully liberated woman is how it feels to me. And
they're confident. It speaks to her confidence and their confidence. They know who they are. They're comfortable in their own skin, expressing themselves. And sometimes, whether it's a good like balance between the expressive and maybe some of the more subdued members of the band. It's just an interesting mesh of characters that come together.
But last night during Help, I had never seen her that potent with her throwing her whole body and her whole being into the performance. And
the latest show is the best one.
I was just like, you gotta be kidding. This is amazing.
I mean, you're doing that song and Joe Cocker. I mean, remember seeing Joe Cocker do that, and I mean, I've seen him. He looks like he's having a really good night in other ways, but the energy and the freedom in which he sings and speaks to his friends and the microphone is cool. And I recall seeing her like get into that and like the eye contact with Derek and Warren, and they're just like, do it, like, yeah, like go, like, and she just started rapping, it was off the hook. That there's nothing written there. She was talking, about being with her friends and being in love and, and being thankful for everybody. It was a really cool moment during that too. I hung out and met a couple of new friends down there and kind of, you say hello to the people you're sitting around with and stuff like that. And during that song with my friends, we're high fives, like eye contact, yeah. And then, you kind of get the feeling like you see the band so much or enough times and you're into them, you feel like they're your friends in a way too.
Yeah.
It's like you're thankful for
Absolutely.
what they're giving you and sharing
Yep.
with them, with us,
Right. And just from going to a show and watching a show and listening to a show, beyond just like this whole community for me and rubbing shoulders with the band and their surrounding, crew and community over the years. It's not just that, it's just literally being at a show and hearing the music. That is an intimate experience in itself that almost gives you this illusion in a good way that like, yeah, we all are part of like this community. And to speak to, I think the music in some ways sometimes I think sometimes the music is carrying them in a way that you're describing how it's carrying Susan physically through the space. So you could even see, Derek when their drums are revving up at a certain parts of these songs, that the music is carrying them. I mean, maybe they're serving something even, I think they are serving something greater than themselves, maybe something even greater than that, which, I understand, but it's something important.
We don't fully comprehend what's going on here, I don't think.
No, I know I like it though.
We're gonna try, but
well, I know that there's certain scientifically there's and I think the band was even talking about this when they did like the sound art or whatever, but there are certain waves and frequencies, and this is beyond me a little, speaking out of my that are ASMR and all this kinds of stuff. There's something to it.
That was the question I asked them in Tulsa during the Q&A, and Susan jumped all over that piece about the healing quality of the vibration.
Right, we had this conversation.
And that they're advanced when it comes to understanding the impact of what they're doing.
Yeah. No, they definitely can keep we're the mouse. I don't know if it's the best analogy, but I followed it enough. We're the mouse and they're the cat, and it's more like they're a cat playing with the ball on a string or something like that. They got us on they got our souls on a string in a good way.
Every up and down feels just
the
incredible.
future's got soul.
Right. Anything else we should cover? I know we've spoken for a while, and some of you guys are on different earlier time zones. I appreciate it. Zach and Kris and Michael, it means a lot to me to connect with all you, or reconnect, Michael.
Yeah, man. Thanks for having me on and the invite. I thought it'd be a kind of cool thing to do. I was sharing with my girlfriend Caitlin. I was like, yeah, I think I'm going to go do this podcast.
Hell yeah.
Like, you better. She's in the other room listening. Like, you better.
Nice.
Like, go get it.
Nice. Yeah. You got any more upcoming shows? You go TTB or?
So it's kind of interesting. Like, I have a bunch of friends going down to Bridgeport, and it's a stretch.
Winwood. That's a Winwood show, isn't it?
What's that?
That's a Steve Winwood show, I think.
Yes, it is, and that's kind of go see another band, or another band.
No,
Steve,
are you kidding? He'll come out and jam with them. I mean, that sounds mandatory.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I might have to send my parents to from Long Island. Have to get them to go out to Bridgeport to see. They're big Winwood fans. I mean, who isn't?
Yeah.
Everybody loves the chance to jam with Tedeschi Trucks Band. And have that be Steve Winwood is pretty damn cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I'm sure we're gonna get some special music at those shows. What about you, Zach? Anything upcoming TTB wise for you?
Not really. They don't come to Toronto often or like Canada much.
I think you're getting 2 shows next year in Toronto. I could tell by the way Susan ended that show. Like, we got to come back here more. Like, it seemed like it's their tone and the way the crowd was reacting on that Nug stream. I'm like, I think you have to do 2 cities at two nights at this. It felt like
because everyone's so into
two
it. Like,
nights.
they really want another chance to see him again because they don't come here so often. Like, I would travel to see him like I did last year in Soulshine, which was the greatest show of my entire life. Jam band, cinematic universe, like Marvel Cinematic Universe gone musical. It was insane. Last time I saw Derek before, but it was insane seeing Derek play a whole set show. Because I also used to see him play guest, and I also saw him play when I was a lot younger, but I don't remember that. But like, it was just a great show. Like, they just know how to play good damn live music. I have to admit, like, just get to
every moment seems so important when you're there, and when you're just listening again. There's no wasted space. There's no wasted moment. Even if it's giving space to the other musicians in the band to play. Like, there's nothing ever mailed in. Everything is just.
Adam, it doesn't seem
builds.
Important. It doesn't seem important. It is important.
Yeah, I also like how every set.
Of course, it just seems, but I
don't reuse the same songs every night. So if you're going to 2 shows, for example, which I have yet to do, you get a fresh take on the bands and the songs they play. So you can see a new song in a whole new light. And saying, oh yeah, like I talking about my dad. They're playing the same set every single night. So I'm like, I already knew what songs were going to be played. So I'm like, wow,
you're gonna have to
set was that family probably for me.
You're gonna have to explain as you start to go to more and more shows. You're gonna have to explain that to people. No, it's different. It's different. It's not the same show every night. That's why I'm going back that's 100th time.
Yeah,
like,
that's why I went to see Soulshine, because I know there was like I know there was I saw Government Mule in October of 2003, and I'm like, yeah, it's gonna be the same. It's gonna be. My mom's like, it's gonna be the same. I'm like, no, it's not. And she's like, yeah, you're right. Warhead's band is different. It's not the same. Derek Trumpson plays the same songs.
There's always something that feels like it's special every night, whether it's a new song or a different way of playing it. There's a guest, they're playing something they haven't played in a while. There's always something about
down, like an acoustic.
Yeah, maybe sometimes it's like maybe it's in a different key or different tempo. I've noticed that
arrangement parts.
The tone is like different from the guitars lately too. It's just a different sound and vibe on songs, which is like, it's great. I mean, like you said, it's
they're great at keeping things fresh.
The other night and Gilford and last night in Gilford, and 2 completely different songs, different energy both times. And the same thing with Ain't That Something, you know? They're just not I wasn't bummed to hear the same song twice.
You forget you even heard it or was a thing. No. The second they go.
Yeah, for sure.
But they do keep it pretty fresh, and their catalog is over I think 150 plus songs now. Yeah. Michael, do you have any TTB shows coming up?
I do. It ties into kind of my awareness from this year when I went to the last night at the Beacon. Then I went to Tulsa, and both Red Rocks, and then Berkeley, and then last night. And each one of those shows, I could sense they had a special relationship with those towns, those venues, those fans. And Tulsa, that was really interesting. And so last night, too, because, of course, that's Susan's home market. And I think that's part of why she just went so out at the end, because it was her home market and she just was incredible. So there's another market that has a lot of musicians in it, Nashville. So I'm going to that show, and that should be an interesting crowd.
Every place they go seems to like have, or maybe I'm just looking or they're just looking, but there always really does seem to be a special connection to so many places they play. Yeah. Whether it's a history thing like it's in New York with the Beacon, whether it's on like a scenic location like SPAC, or even Gilford, right? Like these beautiful venues on the water that really give sort of a very spiritual quality to the experience of being at a show, like just being part of nature, something very authentic and organic, like, or, you know, or the music city like Nashville, even, and other music that has come like if they're in the South, there's a lot of special things about those music, going to historical venues and smaller venues and theaters where, you know, there's always seems to be something, or Canada, because they haven't been there in a while, so you know you're going to get a special experience. The band knows that when they're somewhere they're not, you know, they're like, oh, they know that they haven't been there in a while, and carry themselves as such, and take good care of the set list and the music they're presenting. I can guarantee you that they know it, or they looked at what they played last time in Toronto compared to 2025 and made conscious choices in that regard.
And then I'm going to go to the last night of the tour in St. Augustine, because I learned last year I went to the last night at the Fox in Atlanta, and again, certain towns, certain shows, they just give that extra 3% that they also gave the night before, but somehow in them doing it the next night, it's that much more special. So I think
so. And those, I've talked about the St. Augustine end of year shows on here, and those are special. It's almost like kind of like a family and friends vibe, you know, even just the feeling I get from talking to you guys, you know, just you know, whether it's in Florida or in the New England area, you sometimes can get that, or at some of the destination shows, even like I'm sure that there was a bit of a family and friends destination hardcore TTB fan thing at Red Rocks and all this, and we talk about this endlessly. But I've taken up so much of your time. We could talk about this stuff all day. Thank you guys. I appreciate it so much.
Appreciate you, Adam.
Let's all talk soon. Good meeting you, Kris. Appreciate the time.
Good job,
Thank
everybody.
Thank you. Like,
nice to meet you.
For sure. Like, subscribe, do all the things, and we'll talk soon. Thanks, everyone. Later.
Peace.